Call to order the regular meeting of April 18, 2022, the Gurnee Village Board. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Garner. O'Brien.
Present.
Balmas. Thorstensen.
Here.
5 present, 1 absent.
Everyone could please stand with me for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome, everybody. The first item on the agenda is the approval of the consent agenda. And is there a motion?
Second.
Motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas. Thorstensen.
Yes.
5 aye.
Motion carries. Pat?
Item number 1, approval of the minutes from the April 4th, 2022 meeting. Item number 2, approval of ordinance 2022-18, authorizing the execution of an intergovernmental agreement for the sale and purchase of motor vehicle fuel between the Village of Gurnee and the Solid Waste Agency of Lake County, Illinois, SWACO. Item number 3, approval of ordinance 2022-19, amending the Gurnee Municipal Code to classify the east intersection of Conifer Lane at Spruce Point Drive as a stop intersection. Item number 4, approval of Engineering Division's recommendation to award the 2022 Street Maintenance and Roadway Construction Material Testing Services to Soil and Material Consultants, Inc. at a cost of $36,886. Item number 5, approval of payroll for period ending April 8, 2022 in the amount of $897,890.21. Item number 6, approval of bills for period ending April 18, 2022 in the amount of $2,319,504.84.
Is there a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion by trustee Balmas, second by trustee Ross. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas. Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 aye.
Motion carries. And now on for presentation of the Gurnee Police Officer of the Year Award to Detective Matt Bendler and Police Civilian of the Year Award to Traffic Safety Technician Earl Tuckman. Chief?
All right, well, good evening. Thank you again for having us, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Mutz, Village Board. We're honored to be able to come for a second month in a row and recognize some of our employees for the good work that they're doing for the community. And so, as the mayor mentioned, up first is our Police Officer of the Year, and that is Detective Matt Bendler. So, Matt, could you join me up front, please? So a couple of things about Matt, give you a little bit of background, and then a little forewarning for next month. We'll be back here again because Matt will be promoted next month to sergeant. So you'll see his friendly face again as we promote him next month. But as far as Police Officer of the Year goes, Matt's been employed with us since 2001, so a little bit over 20 years. He's done just about everything since he's been with the Gurnee Police Department. He spent a large portion of his career in patrol, and when we're done with this ceremony here, we're going to do some traffic safety awards, and Matt is a multiple time, I think he's a 3-time winner of the Gurnee Police Department Traffic Safety Award. Matt has also been an instructor, and he's very instrumental in the training of our officers and making sure that our departments have the knowledge and the experience that they need to act professionally out on the street and serve the community. He's a defensive tactics instructor. He's a EVOC, what we call EVOC, which is a emergency vehicle operations instructor. He's a use of force instructor. He's also a drone pilot, and for a number of years he's been an instructor with our Citizens Police Academy class that we host within the department. Throughout Matt's career, while he was in patrol and working his way around, Matt was assigned to NIPUS, which is the Northern Illinois Police Alarm System. It's the tactical team up in this area that communities call upon in time of need. So Matt was assigned to the emergency services team, where he worked on the containment side of emergency services for a number of years before he tried out and was moved over to the marksmanship team. So he was on the marksmanship team for a number of years, and if I remember right, I think it was a total of 9 years with Nacitas. In 2018, Matt was promoted, if you will, to detective, and he was assigned to SPOT and investigations. Matt's been in investigations since 2018, coming up on 4 years here shortly. As mentioned, he'll be promoted next month, and he's going to move back to patrol as a patrol supervisor. So with all of that being said, Matt does really good work. He's been extremely involved in most of our major cases that we've had here in the community for the last, call it, 4 years. And on behalf of the men and women of the Gurnee Police Department, the community, and the village, and myself, congratulations, Matt. Job well done. Thank you for serving and representing our community well.
Thanks, appreciate it. So he just fed me a mic, I'm guessing I'm supposed to say something. Let's see, notwithstanding what he said, and this award that I'm getting, remember that 2020 was a year where we were locked down for a while. I don't want people to get the wrong impression about me, but there wasn't really a whole lot of police work going on, so I'm guessing that they just drew my name out of a hat or something. I actually, what I would like to say is that I appreciate the award, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Awards don't mean a whole lot to me. What does mean something is that I think this award is more about, like, you get chosen by your peers. Chad chose me, from what I understand. I don't know if I'm supposed to, or wrote up something for me, I guess. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to know that or not, but I appreciate the fact that my work is recognized by my peers more than anything, I guess. So, that's it. Oh, you know what? I forgot. I would also like to recognize my family who showed up for me today. And, my lovely mom, who doesn't look anything like she's 70, but she's about 70-ish. We'll say Mom. I wasn't going to add numbers to it. My stepdad and my stepmom, Lisa, and she showed up. I think, in my experience on this job, most stepmoms don't like their stepkids, but she showed up for me. I appreciate that. And her boyfriend, Tony, my lovely wife, Erin, my son, Brody, who keeps my mind sharp by beating me in all kinds of board games, and my daughter is my sunshine. So, thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you. All right, next up is our Civilian of the Year, and our Civilian of the Year award is our Traffic Safety Technician, Earl Tuckman. Earl, join me up front, please. All right, a little bit about Earl. So Earl came to us about a little bit over 3 years ago, almost 4 years now, and he retired after a 28-year career in a Cook County community as a police officer. So he came aboard as a traffic safety technician, and he's in charge of a lot of most things that have to do with traffic, but in particular our red light camera program, our administrative hearing process, as far as seizures and tows go, and then really involved in looking at numbers, crunching the data, and assisting us with deployment strategies for traffic safety and crash reduction, and then working with Sergeant Jason Kalinowski on all of our grants, and making sure that we get the appropriate traffic grants out there, and that we have sign-ups for our officers to be able to go out and put forth a little bit extra effort on traffic time to assist the police department with traffic safety. Earl is also involved in a lot of other things within the department. So when I describe his assignment as a traffic safety technician, he's really kind of a jack of all trades. He helps me with just about anything related to computers and programs. When we need some data put together, I call Earl and ask for his help, and he works magic, and it shows up, and I'm able to look a little bit smarter, but it's really all Earl behind the scenes. Earl stepped up really since 2020. During COVID, we had a lot of need for assistance in records and records management and data entry, and Earl stepped up and he offered up his assistance, and he's been working to help them in the records department with entering reports and running numbers and data and crime report and crime stats and anything else that is related to that. He's there every day for the officers. The officers call him, they need some help, they have questions, they need some assistance with our cameras, and Earl is Earl on the spot, and he's able to help them investigate their cases and work their reports so that they can provide the service to the community that we need. So Earl, on behalf of the men and women of the Gurnee Police Department, our community, the village, myself, thank you for all that you do for us. We appreciate having you. Thank you for choosing us as a second career, and you do good work, so congratulations. All right. Mr. Mayor, may I continue? Earl, do you want to say anything?
Just real brief. Sure. Like the chief said, I came here after 28 years at a previous career. When some friends of mine told me there was an opening, it sounded interesting. They convinced me to apply for it. Switching after 28 years someplace new is scary. So I'm glad I took the leap and came here because this is a great place to work, great support from the village trustees. I just want to say thank you. I appreciate everything.
You want to just go right into it, or you
Sure.
want to
All right, well, as mentioned earlier, we're going to dominate the night a little bit, so we're very fortunate to have AIM here, who's going to assist us with our traffic safety awards. So Lisa and Rachel, could you join me up front here, please? And before we get started and call the officers down for our traffic awards for the last year, I'm going to turn this over and allow them to say a few things about AIM and what you do and how you help us serve the community.
Hi, my name is Lisa Rogers, and like Chief said, I work for the Alliance Against Intoxicated Motorists. I'm the director of AIM's court monitoring program. So we have court monitors throughout 13 different courthouses currently, and the court monitors sit in the DUI courtrooms, and they track things and note things, most importantly like the plea agreements or outcomes of different cases. We also have victim services and advocates within our program too. So why traffic safety is so important to me and why I do what I do is because I lost my fiance in 2015 to a drunk driver. Going through that court process was so incredibly difficult and awful. So I cannot imagine being these officers who have to do that day in and day out and then still get back out on the street and do their job. That's what's expected of them, and here in Gurnee, they do a wonderful job of doing that. And we have to give you credit because, you know, it is a thankless job when you're out there. And every time that you pull somebody over, you don't potentially just save their lives, you save my life or your life or your life. So I just want you to remember that, because at the end of the day, you can get lost in what you do because you do a good job and you know what to do next. But you forget that ultimately you're saving someone's life. So thank you. And I will pass this over to Rachel.
Hi, everybody. First of all, congratulations to everybody who's going to receive an award tonight and to those who have already received an award tonight. We really appreciate all of your hard work. I am fortunate enough to not have lost somebody in an impaired driving crash or a reckless driving crash, but I have read far too many stories. We've worked with far too many families of those who have. I myself am one of our AIMS prevention education specialists, so we work to educate the public and our youth about the dangers of underage drinking, reckless driving, impaired driving, and distracted driving. And so these officers, they're not only pulling people over for drunk driving or driving high, but it's also speeding, it's also being on their phone. It's any type of behavior that's going to put somebody at risk. And we've done lots of studies, we've read so many statistics, seen so many horror stories of people who were impacted just by making reckless choices. And the matter of the fact is, it's all choices, and so a lot of people call them accidents, but I want all of you guys to start referring to them as crashes. An accident is if you are driving and it's icy and you slide out into a tree or something. It's unfortunate, but that's an accident. But when you choose to drive impaired, when you choose to text and drive, when you choose to speed, you're making the choice. You are choosing to put your life, these officers' lives, and everybody else's lives at risk. So it's no longer an accident, it's a choice, and so we call it a crash. And so to sum it all up, I just want to thank you guys all for all of your hard work, because without you, we would see way too many lives lost. So we couldn't do it without you, and we just really appreciate all of your hard work. So thank you so much, and congratulations.
As I mentioned, we're very fortunate to have the representatives from AIM here with us tonight. I'd like to also acknowledge our village prosecutor, Louis Alberon, is in the back. Louis is responsible for representing our community and our officers when they go to court, and he makes sure that to the best of his ability, justice is done. So, Louis, we appreciate your representation and everything that you do for us. Thank you for being here tonight. Lastly, but to the officers, to those of you from our department that go out and serve our community every single day, traffic safety is sometimes a small portion of your day, depending on how busy things are. But that being said, we know that it's a priority here in Gurnee. It's a priority for our community, and you take that challenge on, and oftentimes you exceed whatever the goals are that we're looking for. So on behalf of the community and everybody that visits Gurnee on a daily basis, thank you for your service to the community. Thank you for being out there on the front lines and doing your part to keep our roads as safe as you can keep them. So thank you very much. All right, so we're going to get started with the AIM Awards for driving under the influence. And so the first award tonight is for Officer Philip Louis, and he's being recognized over the last 12-month period for making his 10th DUI arrest. Phil, join me up front. All right, next is Officer Josh Silvernail. He also is being recognized over the last 12-month period for his 10th DUI arrest. Josh? I was kind of winging it. I can't see anymore, so I had to put my glasses back on. Next up is Officer Antoine Smith. Antoine is also being recognized for his 10th DUI arrest over the last 12 months. And then we'll do another award for Antoine here at the end. So Antoine, please join us up front. All right, Officer Tyler Scott, please join me. He's going to be recognized for his 10th and his 25th DUI over the 25th over the course of his career. Officer Michael Lambert. Officer Lambert's being recognized for his 50th DUI arrest. All right, JR, slowly walk forward, if you will. So, Officer JR Nacita, a little bit of background about him. I think JR has been with us for about 15 years now, coming up on 15 years. Helped me out 14 years. 14 years. And, I know it feels like it's been a while. But we're here to recognize JR tonight for a couple of things. But one of them is his 400th career DUI arrest. So, JR. I'm going to guess you brought some family and friends with you. Just to put this in perspective, how much work it takes to reach a milestone like this. As AIM mentioned, the amount of processing that goes into an arrest, the report writing, the time in court, the continual callbacks to court, the amount of effort that it takes to reach a milestone like this is hard for me to describe. JR has a background. He clearly has a passion in keeping the road safe, but he does have a background. He is one of just a handful of drug recognition experts in Lake County. And part of that assignment allows for him to be called for mutual aid requests from other communities in the area when they have a bad crash and they need a drug recognition expert to come and do an assessment and run through a battery of tests to make a determination based on impairment or intoxication or some other level of impairment. JR responds to those things. JR, I just want to turn the mic over to you a little bit. Tell us about your passion. Tell us about DRE. And thank you for what you do.
Sure. Thank you all very much for the kind applause and the screams. I appreciate that. Excuse me. So a little bit about the extra program I work through here, the DRE Program, Drug Recognition Expert. We look at somebody who is impaired, who may not be impaired by alcohol. We try to figure out what is impairing them. Is it a medical condition? Is it drugs? Is it an injury? So when we go through our process, it is a 12-step process. Process takes about an hour and a half, and at the end of that, I can tell you with relative certainty at least the type of drug that this person may be impaired on if it's not injury or medically related. Whether that's cannabis, whether it's a narcotic like heroin, or prescription drugs, things like that. We go through this process, and what that helps us do in court is if one of my other officers calls me over and says, hey, I know this guy's messed up, I just can't quite put my finger on it. I go through this process, and then when we figure out what it is, we go to court, and we kind of put that nail into it so that we get that conviction against that person, because I agree with AIM. These aren't accidents. These are choices that people are making, and we all know they're the bad choices, and we want to make sure that they get held accountable so they don't make those bad choices again and hurt somebody in the process, because unfortunately it's never them who gets hurt. It's always the other people, the innocents, that do. So that's part of the program, and with that, the department has allowed me to also instruct that, so it keeps our program super strong.
All right, I also have one more award for JR tonight. He's receiving his 13th recipient of the Gurnee Police Department Driving Under the Influence Award, and these awards are earned by officers who complete more than 20 DUI arrests in a year. So this would be the 13th time that JR has completed more than 20 arrests for driving under the influence in a calendar year. So congratulations, JR. The last award for the night, and again, we appreciate the opportunity to be here and the time that's been granted to us. These are important, and it's important work that they do. It's also important that we recognize them. So we want to take this opportunity. Antoine Smith, he was just down here for a traffic safety award. Antoine is being honored tonight for the Gurnee Police Department Traffic Safety Award. And what that is a combination of what we call those things that impact the safety of a roadway. So booze, belt speed, and now we add on distracted driving. Aim talked about it a little bit. Antoine was in the top of each category, and because of that, he's going to receive the Gurnee Police Department Traffic Safety Award for 2021. So Antoine, congratulations. Thank you for a job well done, and we appreciate your service and what you do for the community. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
So just as a finish, I just think on behalf of the village and the village board, is just to say I'm really proud of this community, is that we embrace our police officers, as you can tell, that we're not looking for things to be a problem, that throughout our community, I think that our police officers generally find, thank you for your service responses, maybe not always, right, but I'm sure they could tell me some stories, but I'm just proud of our community that that's how we receive our police department. They deserve to be received that way. And thank you to their family that you loan your, this time it's gentlemen, right? I don't see, there's not a lady. So gentlemen to us to do the services that they do in our community, because when I wake up in the morning, I know that they've got my back. And from the village board standpoint, we say the same back, is that we got your back. And that's the way we like to run our community. So thank you for all that you do. And tonight is just a great example of just that, back and forth. So thanks.
To come back up here and get his picture taken.
Does he?
I don't know. Where is it? Oh, I guess they're just doing it there. Okay, so the next item on the agenda is the approval of the proclamation designated April 29th, 2022 as Arbor Day in the village of Gurnee. Each year, the village of Gurnee joins in the celebration of Arbor Day at the end of April by supporting the preservation of trees and woodlands and encouraging residents to participate by planting trees. Arbor Day was first observed in 1872 in Nebraska and quickly caught on across the United States. 2022 is the 150th anniversary of the original Arbor Day and is a celebration of the benefit trees bring to our community, which ranges from increased property values, enhancement of the economic vitality of business areas, and beautifying our community. Additionally, the Village of Gurnee continues to receive recognition as Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation. Now, therefore, I, Thomas B. Hood, Mayor of the Village of Gurnee, do hereby proclaim April 29, 2022 to be Arbor Day in the Village of Gurnee, and hereby urge all citizens to celebrate
and support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee O'Brien, second by trustee Thorstensen. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Let's see, no reports, no old business, new business. Approval of ordinance 2022,
20.
authorizing the execution of a commercial solid waste services agreement between the Village of Gurnee and Waste Management of Illinois Incorporated. Pat?
Sure. So Jack's going to walk us through this. He was the lead on the renegotiation. Then we have Mike Brink, who's our marketing manager from Waste Management here as well, if there's any questions that Jack or I can't answer. So.
All right, thank you, Pat, Mayor, and the Village Board. Just a little bit of background on the commercial franchise. So in 2014, the Village Board authorized a commercial waste hauling franchise. We're one of the first in Lake County with such a franchise. And what it did is it consolidated all of our commercial businesses under one hauler. So before that, there were about 8 different haulers operating in the area and in Gurnee. Went down to 1. It was a 7-year agreement, started August 1st, 2015 through July 31st, 2022. And some of the benefits of why we do a commercial franchise. On average, our businesses save considerable money, especially if you're a smaller business or somebody that doesn't have a commercial wing that handles contracts. It's a great benefit to our businesses. For us in the village, it's fewer garbage trucks on the road, less wear and tear. What you'll see sometimes in a shopping center is you'd have 8 different haulers in one shopping center, each picking up on a different day. A lot of disruption to the businesses, to the residents nearby, and fewer calls we'll get with this program. The final part that we get is an increase in our recycling rate. So when we originally were undergoing this process in 2014, 28% of our businesses did some sort of recycling. Now, in 2022, we're over 50%. So as part of our agreement, we offer free recycling to businesses up to a 4-yard container once per week. So if they're going before our franchise, that usually wasn't an option. They had to pay for recycling. So it's something that we've been trying to push, is making sure businesses know that they can get anywhere from a little toter all the way up to a 4-yard container once a week for free as part of our agreement. A little bit about the contract renewal process. Sorry, Mike's here, but Waste Management's initial offer to us when we discussed renewing wasn't very competitive. It wasn't what we wanted to see. We wanted to see them get more competitive. So we put them through the process rather than just signing the paperwork and saying, sure, let's do it. We worked with SWALCO, so Solid Waste Agency of Lake County. We got offers, or we reached out to 8 different haulers in the Chicagoland. We received 2 very competitive offers, Waste Management and Lakeshore Recycling. Lakeshore is gaining a lot of traction in the North Shore. They wanted the business very badly. We worked with both firms to further negotiate, further refine their offers to a final most competitive offer. So when we looked at this, Waste Management, some of the things that we had to consider went beyond just the offer. So obviously, at the end of the day, we want to make sure our businesses are getting a financially viable option, but we did have to consider some other parts too. So the 2 offers were about within 2% of each other, so very competitive. Lakeshore was lower in the garbage hauling, where Waste Management was lower in recycling. We have a goal to increase recycling, so that was something we considered. The other thing we had to consider too was the switching out of about 750 containers, the business disruption, and also now with the supply chains, being able to get new containers, swapping it out. It's kind of a nightmare. So we'd have a lot of staff time required, a lot of consideration in that regard. The other part too is that we've actually have very minimal complaints about Waste Management. It was a little rocky at the beginning doing the switch. We had some issues at the beginning. We've worked through it, and I very rarely spend time handling a business issue, and when we do, they've been very responsive and good with the businesses working to their needs. A good example is, I always consider the McDonald's by Six Flags. Their business is probably the most fluctuating of any business in Gurnee. In the summer, they need like 14 times a week. In the winter months, not as much. So Waste Management does a great job working with them to right-size their business. The last thing that we had to consider was the staff time required to manage. It does take a lot of our time, a lot of our resources, and looking at this next few months, it was something that we weren't fully sure of. So negotiating kind of the next steps. So Waste Management's final offer to the village that we've have before you tonight. It's a 5-year agreement, so we shrunk it down from a 7-year to a 5-year. It'll go through 2027. In year 1, we have a decrease of 5%, which we see as a very competitive. So from what businesses are paying now, they'll pay 5% less starting August 1st. Their recycling, we have a 1-year rate freeze. Annually, it's going to continue the escalators we have in the current contract, which is between 1.5 to 3.5, depending on CPI. We added some language just preventing charges of overages to businesses. So if businesses have a little bit too much in their container, they won't be hit with a fee. So that was something that we didn't have clarified the first time in the contract. We have it clarified the second time around. And this new pricing will go into effect August 1st, 2022. So our businesses won't see any major changes. It'll be business as always. They'll just be getting a lower bill starting in August. So we see it as a win-win, getting the lower rates and maintaining our relationship with Waste Management. Questions?
Any questions? Questions?
This is entirely separate from the residential service, right?
Yes, correct. Yep, so this one's just our commercial. We also have our residential contract. We did a 5-year agreement with that in 2019, so that one will bring us through 2024. So there's about a 3-year gap between the two. In theory, one of the things we've considered is doing 3 1-year extensions at the residential, and in 2027, bringing the entire business out for both contracts for one hauler.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by trustee Garner, second by trustee Thorstensen. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Balmas. Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 aye.
Motion carries. Item number 2, approval of ordinance 2022,
21.
authorizing the execution of a master services and purchasing agreement between the Village of Gurnee and Axon Enterprise Incorporated. Pat?
Yep. So as you know, our body-worn cameras and tasers are provided by Axon. The original agreement is up for expiration here, so Chief Smith has been working on that, and he is going to walk us through that process and where we ended up.
Thank you, Mr. Muse, Village Board. Again, just appreciate the opportunity to be here tonight and talk to you a little bit about body-worn cameras and our taser system. So, as you might remember, back in 2014, we began an internal study looking at the feasibility of body-worn cameras and the benefits to transparency and service that those would provide to our police department. That led to us several years later adopting or recommending the purchase of body-worn cameras from then Taser International. That company is now rebranded as Axon, and we signed our first 5-year agreement in 2017. Our agreement expired in February of this year, and we've been working with them since about September of last year on a new 5-year agreement. We're happy to present to you tonight that 5-year agreement. I'm available to answer any questions that you might have. I'm sorry, it's actually a 72-month agreement to cover the 2 months that we've been stopgapped. But just a little bit of background. So 5 years ago, we signed an agreement that basically worked out to about $87,000 a year for body-worn cameras, the data, all of the equipment, and tasers. About a year after that, we recognized the need for a battery program and a training program, so we adopted a new agreement with them that included replacement of batteries and some additional equipment. So all things considered, we've been spending approximately $94,000 a year for body-worn cameras to the fleet. And that included 60 officers. So the agreement that's in front of you today is for 65 body-worn cameras, 65 new Taser 7s, and all of the related equipment. It also includes 4 new pro licenses, and just a little bit of background on what the importance of that is. We have civilian staff within the building and records. Earl in traffic safety, Dennis down in our evidence custodian, that have requirements for redaction and processing FOIA. They have to have a license in order to operate inside evidence.com, which is the evidence system for Axon. So they've currently been operating using one of our pro licenses for the officers. That's been okay because of some of the staffing challenges, but we fully anticipate getting back to fully staffed, and we're going to need licenses for them to continue to do their work. And so that's what the additional 4 licenses that are included in this. One other thing to note that's probably specifically important this year as we talk about the Safety Act and the implementation of on-the-ground scenario-based training. For many years, we have conducted a lot of our training in-house. We're currently going through a process with the Illinois Training Standards Board to get our training certified, and approved, and our instructors approved. So included in this is the licenses for master taser instructor that will be needed for us to maintain those certifications. At the end of the day, the agreement is for 62 months. It's a total of $580,971. That basically comes out to $116,000 a year, or about $1,800 an officer. To compare that to where we were 5 years ago, we were paying $1,500 an officer. So over the course of 5 years and for the next 5 years in a 10-year window, it's about a $300 a year increase per officer. With that being said, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have or go into additional detail if you need some.
Questions? Thank you, Chief. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion Trustee O'Brien, second by Trustee Woodside. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas.
Aye.
Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 ayes.
Motion carries. Next item on the agenda is public comment. Doesn't look like we have any public, so the next item is the executive session. Brian?
Yes, tonight we'll need to have a motion to go into executive session. This would be under the exemption C2, which allows the village board to discuss collective bargaining contracts. And so we need a motion to that effect.
Also my evaluation.
Oh, and we also have the evaluation as well.
For Pat Mutes, right?
Correct.
So is there a motion?
Motion.
Second.
Motion by Trustee Thorstensen, second by Trustee Woodside. Roll call, please.
Woodside. Aye. Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas. Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 ayes.
Motion carries. We're going to do the fire first. And roll call, please, Andy.
Woodside.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Garner.
Here.
O'Brien.
Present.
Thomas.
Present.
Thorstensen.
Here.
6 present.
All right. So item from executive session to now we're approval of ordinance 2022-22, approving the collective bargaining agreement between the Gurnee Firefighters Union, IAFFF, too many Fs, Local 3598 and the Village of Gurnee for the term beginning May 1, 2022 through April 30th, 2027. Motion by Trustee Balmas.
Second.
Second by Trustee O'Brien. Roll call, please.
Woodside.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Garner.
Aye.
O'Brien.
Aye.
Thomas. Thorstensen.
Yes.
6 ayes.
Motion carries. John, you've got a contract. So, is there a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Motion by Trustee Balmas, second by Trustee Garner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.